Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Daqin. I fusion with Black Dragon Sky, exposed on the gold list, crossing the immortal and martial continents, becoming the eldest son of the Great Qin Emperor. Ying Changsheng originally planned to dominate the world, but unexpectedly merged with the Black Dragon Sky template and transformed into the Lord of the Gods. Are you still competing for supremacy? When the Heavenly Way is presented and the Golden List is announced, number 1 on the Divine Weapon ranking. Tearable Divine Mansion. Blood Spear. Ying Changsheng. All things are ants. Under my gaze, you only have death. Legion rank 1st. Ancient existence. Gods. Ying Changsheng said, wherever you look, the universe and the Milky Way are all vassals. After the announcement of the power of the colorless realm, ancient giant gods, and so on, people of all dynasties have been foolish. Li Air. Are you still playing with me? Zetian said, I am willing to marry the eldest son of the Great Qin Emperor. Ying Zheng. Changsheng, how hard it is for you to keep me hidden. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The eldest son of Emperor Qin, merging with Black Dragon Heaven. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 1. The eldest son of Emperor Qin, merging with Black Dragon Heaven. Daqin, Xianying, intrauterine, Qin Shi Huang Ying Zheng was sitting in front of the examination room, with a serious expression on his face. Today, it's his time to gather all the princes for assessment. Glancing at the examination room, I only didn't see the eldest son, Ying Changsheng. Ying Zheng's face suddenly turned black as he looked at Zhang Han beside him and asked, didn't you tell him? What about others? Upon hearing this, Zhang Han felt somewhat helpless. I have indeed told the Grand Prince that His Majesty will conduct an assessment today. But the eldest young master is different from other young masters, he has no desire to compete at all. He shook his head and said truthfully, Your Majesty, today the Grand Prince has not left the mansion as usual. Anger appeared on Ying Zheng's dignified face and he scolded, can't he never even leave the door in this lifetime? De Han, which of the princes of the Tang dynasty is not more proactive than him? This stinky kid is so lonely and idle, how can he compete with all the other heroes in the world? Angered and gritted his teeth, he shouted angrily, you go over and tell him to come over quickly. But at this moment, bang! Suddenly, a deafening roar came from above the sky. The people present felt deafening and the earth was shaking. Their faces changed drastically, Your Majesty's anger is so terrifying. Ying Zheng himself was also startled and then looked up at the sky. Seeing Your Majesty's reaction, everyone looked up in fear. I saw mirage rises. The wind and clouds surge above the sky, and nothingness emits piercing roars. Like an invisible beast roaring. The sky quickly became dark, with no daylight left. The oppressive atmosphere that obscures the sky and the sun envelopes below. At this moment, a purple aura rises eastward, instantly reflecting the entire sky. Terrifying pressure has descended. Accompanied by a thick lightning bolt sweeping across the sky, click. The void seems to be torn open, with a crack appearing. There are faint and mysterious sounds within the cracks, then a scroll emitting strong golden light slowly floated out and automatically unfolded. Flowing down like a waterfall, with a majestic momentum. Above the golden scroll, 2 lines of divine light flickered and big characters danced with dragons and phoenixes appeared. The Heavenly Way presence, Golden List announced. Immediately after, the words reappeared on the scroll, from now on, the Heavenly Way Golden List will announce various rankings in the world, divine weapons, emperors, strategies, realms, and more will be presented in the form of rankings. Choose the top 10 from various rankings and make it to the list. Among them, those on the list will receive heavenly Tao rewards. Seeing this sudden, terrifying and magical scene, What? Ying Zheng, being knowledgeable, couldn't help but look shocked and take a deep breath. Heavenly Way. Golden List. Heavenly Way rewards. What the hell is this? Meanwhile, Zetian, in a mansion. Ying Changsheng is leisurely sitting by the pond fishing. As for the Emperor's statement that they will be assessed today, he has long forgotten about it. Do you need to assess those imperial brothers yourself? And at this point, Ying Changsheng suddenly remembered the sound of the system in his mind. Ding, congratulations on the improved performance of the host's aloofness. The progress of integrating the Black Dragon Sky template has increased by 3%, the current Black Dragon Sky template has been merged to 13%. Ding. Congratulations to the host for unlocking the Black Dragon Heavenly Supreme Domain. The Supreme Realm will be centered around the host, with a current coverage area of up to 10 meters. Within this range, the host's temperament, prestige, and aura surpass all living beings, and no one is reversible. The field will expand again as the progress of host fusion templates increases. Hear the sound of the system in your mind. Ying Changsheng was somewhat surprised and said, the Supreme Realm. Meanwhile, his temperament and expression are undergoing great changes. A pair of eyes looked even more profound and aloof, the breath on the body seems to be elusive, as if to blend into heaven and earth. Within 10 meters, the surrounding plants and trees bend down, as if bowing their heads. In the pond, the fish that didn't bite the hook immediately rushed to grab the bait. Seems to be trying hard to please. This Supreme Realm. Quite good. Ying Changsheng felt the changes in himself and his surroundings and murmured with satisfaction. Actually, he is a traveler. I thought I would travel here and follow Ying Zheng to dominate the world, but unexpectedly awakened the fusion of the Black Dragon Sky system. So, we can all merge with Black Dragon Heaven now. Are you still vying for a damn world? This also leads to, Ying Changsheng is particularly proud and aloof in the eyes of outsiders, a salted fish, and an indifferent eldest son. And in this world, it's not just the world of Daqin. But it's a vast continent. Here bringing together all dynasties such as the Great Qin, Great Han, Three Kingdoms, and Great Sui. There are also many sects such as Wudang, Shaolin, Amei, and Huashan. And the Yin-Yang family, Mo family, Taoist family, Dugu family, and so on. These forces are intricate and complex, standing on the vast continent. However, Ying Changsheng doesn't care at all now. Who provoked him, then he will directly crush it. And at this moment, bang ka. A terrifying explosion like a sky-shattering and earth-shattering suddenly came. A hint of surprise flashed in Ying Changsheng's eyes, and then he calmly looked up at the sky above. I saw a crack open in the void, the golden scroll appears, slowly unfolding. The Heavenly Way presence, Golden List announced. The Heavenly Way Golden List will announce various lists in the world. Those on the list will receive Heavenly Way rewards. Looking at the words floating on the scroll, The Heavenly Way Gold List. Ying Changsheng narrowed his eyes and murmured, has the Heavenly Tao consciousness of this world awakened? Interesting. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Divine Weapon Ranking announces, Emperors excited. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Divine Weapon Ranking announces, Emperors excited. At this moment, the entire continent of Yuanzhang focuses on the golden scroll on the sky. Everyone is carrying fear and confusion. Meanwhile, the words on the golden scroll have changed again. The golden list is about to be released. This time we are going to announce the golden list. Divine Weapon list all the divine weapons and weapons of the Yuan Dynasty continent, as long as they possess supreme power, can be included in the list with astonishing power. This ranking only includes the top 10 divine weapons. Any divine weapon that can make it to the list will represent the 10 most terrifying, stunning, and highly lethal divine weapons of the entire continent. Once listed, its holders can receive heavenly Tao rewards. Rewards increase from low to high, the higher the ranking, the richer the rewards. If there is a champion, you will receive special rewards. The deep and majestic voice of the heavenly way slowly falls. At the same time, a terrifying murderous aura suddenly permeated between heaven and earth. I saw the entire sky. Now it has become a huge picture: knives, firearms, swords, halberds, spears, axes, whips, hammers. As it appears, they erupted into roars above the sky. There is a heavenly sword that kills all directions. There is a dragon-slaying knife that kills a sea of corpses and blood. There are drums, jars, and golden hammers showcasing the power of terror, smashing the enemy with flesh and blood flying everywhere. The Heaven Quest sword carries the meaning of an emperor, with one sword shining in the cold of 19 states. Among them there were several weapons that couldn't be seen clearly, like those stored in the darkness, flashing by. Although their appearance only lasted for a moment, but it made the sky tremble and the void twist. All the weapons in the picture are buzzing. As if, they can suppress all divine weapons and weapons in the world. It's chilling. Tang Dynasty, within the Tai Chi Palace. Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shimin, stared blankly at the scene above the sky, his face shocked and his mind shocked. Divine Weapon List. Can those on the list receive heavenly Tao rewards? Every one of those divine weapons just now is so terrifying, comparable to an army. If I didn't read it wrong just now, Yuan Ba's drum jar and golden hammer are impressive, right? It shouldn't be difficult to make it to the list. The more he spoke, the stronger the radiance in his eyes, and he took a deep breath of air pressure to shake his heart. Looking down with expectant eyes, if third brother can make it to the list, if you receive the heavenly way reward, so the strength of the Tang dynasty will be even higher. Below, like civil and military officials, their hearts were shaken and their faces were filled with shock. Seeing Li Shimin's gaze, Your Majesty, Tang dynasty is bound to occupy a place on the divine weapon list, and other lists will definitely have Tang dynasty's share. Not bad. If you can get the heavenly Tao rewards from other rankings, the Tang dynasty will definitely shine in this vast continent. Your Majesty, you are not mistaken. That is the king's drum jar and golden hammer. His weapon is definitely on the list. Li Jing, Qin Xiong and others spoke excitedly, looking forward. Looking at the reactions of everyone below, Li Shimin laughed heartily and looked back at the scene on the sky with satisfaction. De Han, outside the Weiyang Palace. The Heavenly Way. Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, looked up at the sky above and murmured, his majestic face showed a rare expression of shock. Rear, uniformly brushed the civil and military officials standing in the court. Their eyes were filled with fear, and their bodies trembled even more. The previous screen, it really makes them feel an unprecedented terror. The list of divine weapons. Then my Han's Wei Qing and Huazubing's weapons should be able to make it on the list, right? Heavenly Way reward. If the Great Han could receive the Heavenly Way reward, he would definitely become the strongest dynasty on the continent. Just. What are those weapons that can't be seen clearly? They're so terrifying. Baiguan started discussing with shock and excitement. And the many forces on this vast continent, the Han is definitely among the top. Apart from the current list of divine weapons, if you can climb other rankings and receive heavenly Tao rewards, the Great Han dynasty can definitely compete for the title of the strongest dynasty. Upon hearing this, Emperor Wu of Han calmed down his inner shock, and his deep eyes burst into a strong expression. I didn't expect that the heavenly way would revive. It's really a blessing from heaven for the Great Han. This is the opportunity for the Han dynasty to dominate the world, the best opportunity. Besides the divine weapon list, there are other lists that I and my Great Han must make. Staring closely at the golden scroll, his face was full of imperial intent, and he spoke arrogantly, no, top the list. Daqin, after being shocked, Ying Zheng stared blankly at the golden scroll above the sky. The words of heavenly rewards echoed in my mind. The more I think, the more excited I become, he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, heavenly rewards, I must receive rewards. Since it's a reward from the heavenly way, it's not excessive for me to seek immortality, is it? The top of this divine weapon list must be my Tianwen sword. His majestic face blushed slightly, he continued speaking with a loss of composure, one list is not enough, I want every list to be at the top. Those who dominate the top multiple rankings will receive special rewards, including rewards that can definitely bring longevity. Long life, I want to live forever. On sight, everyone saw Ying Zheng's appearance in shock, Your Majesty will surely live forever and occupy the top spot on all the charts. I wish my father the Emperor longevity in advance, and bless the Great Qin for thousands of years. They shouted with excitement. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Expectations of Zhu Yuanzhang and Emperor Wu of Han, Li Air. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4. The expectations of Zhu Yuanzhang and Emperor Wu of Han, Li Air cursed loudly. Daming, inside the Golden One treasure hall. Zhu Yuanzhang looked at the sky with a shocked expression and took a cold breath. The scene that just appeared, now it still lingers in his mind. Just the 10th rank drum jar and golden hammer, it already has such terrifying power. As if it could create a new world. With shock, he clapped his hands and exclaimed in amazement, what a drum-beating jar and golden hammer. Terrifying, this weapon is indeed terrifying enough, but is this only the 10th one? How terrifying! And how terrifying are those divine weapons on top of the drum-beating jar and golden hammer? At this point, the expressions on the faces of the civil and military officials in the palace have been replaced by shock. They can't even speak. The previous scenes were too stunning. Watching the reactions of the courtiers, Zhu Yuanzhang, thinking of the heavenly way reward, looked hot on his face and quickly asked, where is our great Ming? Can there be such divine weapons? Can there be divine weapons that can make it to the list? Seeing the officials looking at each other, he appeared impatient and shook his hand, saying, Suda, Tang he. We can't wait for the gold list to be announced, you guys go check it quickly. Upon hearing this, Suda, Tang he quickly took orders and left the main hall directly. Zhu Yuanzhang saw the two of them leave and looked at the sky curtain with anticipation again. Heavenly rewards, our great Ming must receive them. Wanchao continent, let's fight again. De Han, the civil and military officials of the Manchu dynasty looked at the scene on the sky in shock. The shocking power that just erupted from the drum-beating jar and golden hammer, I have completely scared them. Wei Qing, Huatsubing is no exception. That drum-beating jar and golden hammer are really terrifying. They can unleash such destructive power that even ordinary people would find it difficult to hold them up. Li Yuanba used the drum jar and golden hammer, and each person could defeat 1,000,000 soldiers with just one hammer. This is truly a true divine weapon. They spoke one after another, their eyes still filled with shock. Upon hearing this, Lu Chaishan nodded in surprise and couldn't help but praise, I've heard of this drum-beating jar and golden hammer before when I was out there. But surprisingly, it only ranked 10th. TSK, truly worthy of the gold medal. Upon hearing the words of Emperor Wu of Han, Your Majesty, the Great Han must come first. The Great Han has a strong army and numerous strong men, and there must be a place for the Great Han on the list of divine weapons. All civil and military officials shout loudly, the emotions of the crowd are high. Upon hearing these words, Lu Che nodded in satisfaction. Looking back at the sky scene, he regained his majesty and dominance, with an indescribable strong confidence in his eyes. At this moment, the world is undergoing changes again. A roar is coming out. I saw words continue to emerge on the golden list. Countless divine weapons, only the top 10 on the gold list. Reason for the golden hammer of the drum jar ranking. Top of the 4 fierce 8 great hammers. Once helped Li Yuanba kill the Tianbao general Yuan Qingdu, defeated Pei Yuanqin, defeated Qin Xiong and other world experts, and helped Li Yuanba become the first god of war in the Sui and Tang dynasties. Moreover, on the battlefield, he killed countless enemies and made remarkable military achievements, playing a role in helping the Tang dynasty establish its foundation. Therefore, the drum jar and golden hammer have enough reasons to make it onto the list. Divine weapon evaluation. The drum jar and golden hammer on the battlefield can demonstrate terrifying killing and explosive power far beyond other weapons. There are countless weapons on the continent of Yuanzhang. Although it is not the strongest divine weapon, there are extremely rare divine weapons that can be compared to it. The drum-beating jar and golden hammer should be called a rare divine weapon in the world. Reward for being on the list. 1. The weapon of Tang Dynasty Prince Li Yuanba. The golden hammer of the drum jar will receive divine power infusion and become a true divine weapon. 2. Li Yuanba's subordinates will receive 5,000 sets of enchanting armor, which can greatly enhance the defense of soldiers and make them invincible. During combat, a psychedelic formation can be formed, which can disrupt the enemy's mind and weaken their combat power, playing a surprising role in winning. At this moment, the scene on the sky has been brought into the territory of the Tang dynasty. In a military camp, Li Yuanba is leading thousands of subordinates to watch the sky screen with a look of ecstasy. Because my weapon was on the divine weapon list. And at this point, bang! Heavenly Dao rewards are issued. Li Yuanba's drumming jar and golden hammer came out of his hand, floating in mid-air. At this point, a divine light from the sky suddenly landed on the golden hammer of the drum-beating jar. A tremendous pressure envelopes the entire military camp. Seeing the situation, Li Yuanba's eyes were hot, and he couldn't help but reach out and hold the golden hammer in front of him. Just touched it, He felt a supreme force and a sense of heaviness. Li Yuanba's breathing was rapid, and a strong expression burst out in his eyes. Divine power. Let me give it a try. Without any hesitation, he took a big step and waved the golden hammer of the drum jar in his hand. Hoo! Hoo! Bang! Waves of wind-breaking sound explode. A hammer falls to the ground, the deafening roar echoed through the entire military camp. There is also a sense of earth shaking and mountain shaking. With the blessing of divine power, every attack of the drum jar, and golden hammer unleashes a terrifying power that destroys heaven and earth. Li Yuanba laughed up and said, "Ha ha ha. Good. Who else can compete with this king in this vast continent?" Meanwhile, the 5,000 soldiers under Li Yuanba's command also received the heavenly Dao reward, the enchanting soul armor. In an instant, a tremendous momentum surged in the military camp. In mid-air, it also condenses a terrifying eerie formation that captures the soul. This. I feel like I'm full of strength and can't help but want to go on stage and kill the enemy. Unexpectedly, this enchanting armor has chosen us. The soldiers who received the enchanting armor exclaimed excitedly. They were selected by the enchanting armor. Both combat effectiveness and self-defense have achieved an extremely terrifying effect. In the subsequent battles, I will move forward without any obstacles, invincible. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. The 10th ranking of the Tang Dynasty, Li Er was enraged. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Tang Dynasty ranks 10th, Li Er is enraged. Daqin, Ying Zheng watched the reactions of the crowd. Before thinking about it, several mysterious terrifying weapons appeared behind me, and I breathed quickly. The weapons that I couldn't see clearly before are not as powerful as the Tianwen sword. If we can obtain them, it will definitely make the strength of my Great Qin the strongest dynasty on the continent. Without any hesitation, with fiery eyes, he turned around and ordered, Zhang Han, immediately send someone to search for the divine weapons and weapons of the Wanqiao continent, especially those mysterious and terrifying divine weapons just now. If the divine weapon has no owner, be sure to find it back. If there is already a master, then recruit them and use them for the Great Qin. By the way, let everyone come out and watch carefully. I, the Qin, will definitely be able to make consecutive appearances on the list. Also, call that stinky kid from Changsheng over to me. Upon hearing this, Zhang Han said, Here. Your Majesty, the assessment of your princes. Ying Zheng didn't even think about assessment, his mind was full of heavenly rewards and those mysterious weapons from before. He looked longing at the golden scroll and said, I won't take the exam. You go quickly. Zhang Han dared not neglect and hurriedly said, Here. After speaking, he quickly left. Zetian, within the mansion. Ying Changsheng is still fishing. However, he is looking up at the sky above. Just a glance, then he withdrew his gaze. After all except for a few weapons that only one can see from behind, everything else is not better. He withdrew his gaze and said calmly, What are all the things in front of him? Ordinary and ordinary, can this also be called a divine weapon? This gold list, but that's all. At this moment, Wanqiao continent, countless people are paying attention. They are all looking forward to the release of the gold list with a look of shock and excitement. After all, once on the list, you will receive the Heavenly Way reward. At this moment, bang. With a loud bang, the scroll words on the sky have changed again. The Heavenly Way Golden List is presented. The list of divine weapons is now being announced, 10th place. Golden Hammer for Drum 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 Jar. Dynasty. Tang Dynasty. Holder. Li Yuanba. Identity. Prince. Achievements. The first god of war in Sui and Tang dynasties. In the Battle of Siming Mountain, Li Yuanba charged alone with drums, jars, and golden hammers, defeating an army of 230,000 anti-kings from 18 routes. In the Battle of Zetian Mountain, he killed General Yuanzhang, the heavenly treasure. Facing 1,000,000 soldiers with his horses and double hammers, he charged all the way, forcing 18 anti-kings to kneel and surrender. The sound of the Heavenly Way falls, the sky scene is beginning to change. I saw a battlefield full of killing intent appears like a projection. On the battlefield, Li Yuanba is holding a drum beating Wang's golden hammer and facing the 18 anti-king army. Grandpa is going to smash all of you into pulp today. He let out a wild laugh and then rushed into a 1,000,000-strong army alone. As the golden hammer from the drum-beating jar fell, the sound of breaking through the air suddenly rang out. The giant hammer seemed to have transformed into a terrifying meteorite fall at lightning speed towards the enemy in front of you. Boom! Boom! A hammer fell, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. Even the ground was smashed into a deep pit, with cracks extending. Every time it falls, on the battlefield, the enemy's flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and the roar could not be stopped. The drums, jars, and golden hammers are like descending divine weapons, becoming the most terrifying presence on the battlefield. There is no one in 1,000,000 soldiers who can resist the power of the drum, jar, and golden hammer. Who? Boom! Under the terrifying attack of drums, jars, and golden hammers, the anti-Wang army suffered countless deaths and injuries. Even the battlefield ground has become shattered. In the picture, aren't you going to rebel? Come on. A group of foodies, take your lives. Li Yuanba charged again, as if entering an uninhabited realm. Boom! Bang! Faced with a terrifying drumming jar and golden hammer comparable to 1,000,000 soldiers, the anti-king army is like flies. The screen flashed by one. Li Yuanba is invincible with his drum-beating jar and golden hammer, no one can beat him. Killing countless enemies, no record of defeat. The drum-beating jar and golden hammer in its hands demonstrate the ultimate terrifying power and killing power. Tang Dynasty, Tai Chi Palace. The civil and military officials looked at the scene on the sky, their hearts were shocked, and their faces were filled with unprecedented excitement. The people on the list. It's really the weapon of Li Yuanba, the king of Zhao in the western Tang dynasty, a drum-beating jar with a golden hammer. Congratulations your majesty, congratulations your majesty. I never expected that our Tang dynasty would be the first to receive the Heavenly Way reward. I just don't know, what kind of reward is it? The courtiers exclaimed excitedly, their faces filled with ecstasy. But Li Shimin, however, had an angry expression on his face and his eyes turned red with anger. Shut up. What is there to congratulate on? There are a total of 10 divine weapons on this list, and my magnificent Tang dynasty is the last one. Suddenly, the main hall is generally quiet. The civil and military officials looked at Li Shimin, who suddenly became furious, and all lowered their heads in fear. They also realized at this moment, the divine weapon list only admits the top 10 weapons from the entire Yuanzhang continent to the list. And the higher the ranking, the more, the reward you receive will definitely be better. There are even special rewards. Although the divine weapon list has been made, but he no longer has the qualification to continuously dominate the top spot. You can only look at the following rankings. No wonder your majesty is so angry. At this point, Li Shimin's body trembled with anger, and his red eyes roared, why? Why is my third brother's drum jar and golden hammer ranked 10th? Damn it, damn it. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Ying Zheng's dominance, I will take only the first. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Ying Zheng's dominance, I will take only first. Tang Dynasty, on the palace. What a despicable thing. Li Shimin looked at the constantly changing scene on the sky with an angry expression on his face. Even if the Tang Dynasty made it to the list of divine weapons, he still feels dissatisfied in his heart. Because the dynasties on the mainland are like clouds. A list of divine weapons, surprisingly, Tang ranked 10th at the end. How about my third brother's drum jar and golden hammer? It's not just this ranking, right? And at this point, the screen shows the military camp where Li Yuanba is located. Heavenly Dao rewards are issued. Li Shimin watched as the golden hammer in the drum jar was blessed with divine power, becoming a destroyer. After seeing 5,000 Tang dynasty soldiers obtain the enchanting armor, their breath becomes terrifying. See the heart-wrenching enchanting array. This scene made him lose a lot of anger, with a shock in his eyes. He didn't expect that, the 10th place Heavenly Dao reward it would be so rich and terrifying. Until now, Li Shimin felt a little more comfortable in his heart and smiled contentedly, okay. You truly deserve to be my good third brother. By receiving this heavenly reward, Tang's strength will be greatly enhanced. With a burning gaze, he spoke proudly, my great Tang dynasty has sent thousands of dynasties to pay homage, and our national strength is not weaker than any dynasty on the continent of thousands of dynasties. How is a 10th enough? The divine weapon list. Tang dynasty must continue to make it. The civil and military officials saw that Li Shimin's mood had improved. Your Majesty, the Tang dynasty is bound to make consecutive appearances on the list. If the Tang dynasty occupies every ranking list, then the Heavenly Way reward will definitely make the Tang dynasty the leader of all dynasties in the mainland. They became excited again and shouted loudly. 3 kingdoms, Cao Cao was originally sitting on top, serving a bowl to eat, but now his face is stunned. He was watching Li Yuanba, who was swinging a drum jar and a golden hammer, and 5,000 elite Tang soldiers wearing enchanting armor in the picture. There was a strong envy in his eyes. The Tang dynasty had divine weapons blessed with divine power, plus those 5,000 elite soldiers who received heavenly rewards. The strength of the entire Tang dynasty will double. Bite one's teeth, ah. Chow Chow covered his rice bowl on the table and his eyes turned red as he said, heavenly rewards. Can you get such a reward for being the 10th one? Leaving aside the drums, jars, and golden hammers, even 5,000 soldiers wearing enchanting armor and enchanting formations can defeat all directions on the battlefield, invincible. Breathing becomes increasingly rapid, his eyes turned even redder, and he spoke with longing on his face, if these could be given to me. Shu, Wu. What are they? I will definitely be able to unify the three kingdoms. Speaking of which, Chow Chow's envy, jealousy, and hatred were to the extreme. Watching others receive heavenly rewards, he really feels envious. At this point, Sun Yu quickly stood up and said, the king of Wei doesn't need to worry. De Wei may not have an advantage on the divine weapon list, isn't there any other list? At that time, Great Wei will definitely be able to make the list and receive rewards from the heavenly Wei. Upon hearing this, Chow Chow suppressed his emotions and said, not bad. My Great Wei will definitely make it to other gold medals, and unifying the three kingdoms is just around the corner. At that time, there will be a place for the Great Wei in the vast continent. Daqin, Ying Zheng has seen the picture of the heavenly Dao reward being issued, and hopes that the divine weapon list and other lists will all be announced. It really makes people itch. Just getting the reward in the 10th place has undergone a revolutionary change. Not to mention being the first. Besides special reward for continuously occupying the top spot. His majestic face was filled with fiery heat. Ying Zheng was so excited that his body trembled. He gasped heavily and shouted, number 10. I'm not interested. If you want to take it, take first. On the divine weapon list, I must win the first place in my Tianwen sword. There are other lists, I and Daqin must be the first in every way. The first reward, special reward, I want all of you. I want to live forever. Upon hearing this, the civil and military officials who rushed over earlier, as well as the princes, all looked respectful. Your Majesty, you and Daqin will definitely reach the top of the list and dominate multiple rankings. Your Majesty will surely live forever, and the Great Qin will endure for eternity. Congratulations to your father, congratulations to your father. After receiving the heavenly Wei reward, the Great Qin dynasty will surely unify the entire continent under your leadership. They congratulated and celebrated in advance, shouting incessantly in their ears. The reaction of Minister Ying Zheng and his sons, with a dignified and domineering face full of confidence. Currently, Daqin's strength is at the top, if each ranking can receive multiple heavenly Dao rewards and be distributed unifying the Wanchao continent is effortless. He patrolled around, all the other princes are here, and all the civil and military officials have arrived, but I didn't see the eldest son of the emperor, Ying Changsheng. Ying Zheng frowned and said slightly displeased, Zhang Han, why hasn't that stinky kid come over yet? Didn't you go call him? Upon hearing this, Zhang Han looked depressed and said helplessly, Your Majesty, I have gone to inform the Grand Prince's mansion. But the young master. He said he's not interested and doesn't plan to come. Upon hearing the answer, Ying Zheng's face turned black and he said, This stinky kid really has a lofty heart. Are you still interested in such a grand event? I gritted my teeth in anger. He snorted in dissatisfaction and said, It's okay. I'll come find him to settle the accounts later. Looking back at the sky, he just wants to see how many times Daqin can make it to the charts and how many gold charts he can dominate. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Ying Changsheng. For me, this world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Ying Changsheng. To me, this world is all ants. Meanwhile, in the mansion of Xianyang Palace. Ying Changsheng looked back calmly as the Heavenly Way reward was issued to the Tang dynasty and said, "This kind of reward is ordinary." Faced with such a weak reward, is this Wan Chao also eyeing and boiling? Unfortunately, this world is as weak as ants. Shaking his head, he continued fishing and didn't look at the divine weapon list on the sky anymore. Due to the integration of the Black Dragon Sky template, Ying Changsheng's appearance at this moment appears even more isolated and proud than before. After thinking about it, he looked up with great interest and said, "The divine weapon is on the list, and the identity of the holder will be exposed. So, I will also be exposed then, won't I?" Glancing at the list of divine weapons again, a smile appeared on Ying Changsheng's face. "Interesting, integrate the Black Dragon Sky template on your own, although accustomed to loneliness and leisure. I don't want to care about the world, but, if there is someone who doesn't have long eyes who wants to provoke him, he will definitely let the other party know the true meaning of death. Meanwhile, there is another roar coming from heaven and earth. In the eyes of billions of creatures on the vast continent, the divine weapon list is shining with golden light. There are countless divine weapons, only the top 10 can make it to the list. The 9th place on the divine weapon list is now being announced, 9th place. Fong Tian Hua Ji. Dynasty. 3 Kingdoms. Holder. LV Bu. Identity. General. Achievements. Top General of the 3 Kingdoms. Created the Bingzhou Iron Cavalry with one hand, dominating the world during the 3 Kingdoms period and earning the title of Flying General. And with more than 10 cavalry, he defeated thousands of Zhang Yan's cavalry, and 400 cavalry, he defeated tens of thousands of Yuan Shu's army. The sound of the Heavenly Way falls, the scene on the sky slowly unfolds. I saw on a battlefield filled with shouts of killing. Liu Bu has a slender waist, tied his back and shoulders, and wears a bright silver crown on his head. Today, I will grant you death. He is riding a red rabbit horse under his crotch, holding a Fangtian painted halberd and standing proudly ahead of tens of thousands of enemy troops. With a low cry, Liu Bu rode out and charged into the enemy alone. His face was full of war, and he held a square-drawn halberd pointing straight at the sky, as if it could affect the laws of heaven and earth. With a wave, Fong Tianhua's halberd erupts with terrifying pressure. Bang! An invisible force of terror tore apart the enemy ahead. Suddenly, blood splattered everywhere and screamed incessantly. Buzz! A buzzing sound emanated from the Fangtian painted halberd, as if it were a god-slaying roar. The emptiness seems to be unable to withstand the terrifying power of Fong Tianhua's halberd and resounds in waves. In a moment, the entire battlefield has turned into a Shura field. Under Fong Tian's painted halberd, countless souls are lost. With the immersion of fresh blood, the sharp tip of the painted halberd exudes a fierce and unparalleled killing aura, capturing the soul. The blade of the 4 corners of the square sky seems to contain the power of the Shura, making the enemy tremble with fear. The Fong Tian painted halberd emits bursts of red light, with a terrifying burning sensation. Like a terrifying bloodthirsty demon with a thirst for slaughter. Let tens of thousands of enemy soldiers have no fighting spirit and their eyes show a look of fear. In a short period of time, the army of tens of thousands of people was brutally defeated and scattered, like headless flies. Under the bloodthirsty slaughter of Fong Tianhua's halberd, they have no remaining resistance and are falling apart. The screen flashed by one after another. Liu Bu has the Fong Tianhua Ji, if there is divine assistance. On every battlefield, everyone transforms into demons and engages in terrifying killings. Fong Tian painted a halberd. Just looking at the picture it can make people feel a thrilling sense of oppression and overwhelming evil energy. Take a closer look, the fear in the heart will increase by 1 point. 3 Kingdoms. Dong Zhuo looked at the scene on the sky, his huge body trembling. Excited. Extremely excited. He really didn't expect that, my adopted son actually made it to the list. With a face full of ecstasy, he burst into a strong expression in his eyes and shouted, "Boor, this. You're on the list. Although it's only 9th place, it's already overwhelming Tang Dynasty. Ha ha ha. I really didn't misread anyone. When you receive the Heavenly Way reward, we are definitely qualified to compete with those dynasties in this vast continent to dominate the world." At this point, upon hearing these words on the side, LV Bu was also so excited that he seemed to lose his composure. "My own Fangtian painted halberd, ranked on the divine weapon list. And soon, we will receive heavenly rewards." Thinking about the changes after Li Yuanba received the reward before, he climbed to the 9th place, above the other party. By then, he will undergo terrifying changes in both his strength and other aspects. In this vast continent, how many more people can be your opponents? Ha ha ha. He became more and more excited as he thought, trembling and laughing loudly. At this moment, the army is already boiling. General Fang Tianhua's halberd, ranked. General, mighty. If we receive rewards from the Heavenly Way, we will surely become a first-class force. They were overjoyed, waving their arms and shouting loudly. The Zhou dynasty, Wu Zetian looked at the picture given by the sky and widened her beautiful eyes. The 9th-ranked Fang Tianhua Ji, it made her feel a sense of fear. And this is just the 9th one. Compared to the drum jar and golden hammer, Fang Tian's painted halberd gives people a stronger sense of oppression. Previously, from the screen, there is also a terrifying aura rushing towards you. Suppressing the inner vibration, her face was full of disbelief. 3 kingdoms. That's just a small area, how could it make it onto the list? However, Fang Tian's painting of halberds is indeed terrifying. I just took a few more glances and my headache was splitting. If approaching, I'm afraid I'll be eroded by the terrifying evil energy on it. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. LV Bu's Reward, Empress Wu Zetian's Envy. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7. LV Bu's Reward, Empress Wu Zetian's Envy. On the throne, Wu Zetian felt a sense of fear in her heart, and her body was trembling slightly. The weapons of Lu Bu from the 3 kingdoms won the above list. Afterwards, there will be heavenly rewards. That's something that has made countless people on the continent envious. I can no longer resist the wild hope in my heart. She stood up with rapid breathing and looked at the heavenly sky overlord, saying, "My great Zhou must compete for the position. Whether it's this divine weapon list or the list behind it, I, Zhou, must receive the Heavenly Way reward." 3 kingdoms, the way. What? Cao Cao sat upright in his position, looking stunned. He looked at the scene given by the sky curtain, and his whole body was not good. The 9th-ranked weapon on the list, surprisingly, it's Fang Tianhua's halberd. I thought my biggest enemies were Shu and Wu. The situation in the 3 countries, another rising figure from Xiliang, Dongzhou and LV Bu. It has become even more difficult to unify the 3 kingdoms at the moment. Thinking of this, Cao Cao suddenly became worried and said, "Zhou. What the hell is this? Why did Lu Bu's weapons still make it on the list? That guy is already incredibly brave, and with the addition of the heavenly painting halberd above, how can he still play? I can't beat it." Beating the chest and pounding the feet, he looked displeased and slammed the table with anger and embarrassment. "You're so angry. I had a headache right away." Below, Guojia, Sun Yu and others widened their eyes when they saw Cao Cao supporting his head. "King Wei, the Great Wei will definitely be on the list. Don't get angry and ruin your body." Right. "Next, it's definitely coming to our Great Wei." They looked panicked and quickly stepped forward to comfort. At this moment, once again, there is a roar coming from above the sky. In the eyes of countless people on the continent, words reappear on the list of divine weapons. Reason for Fang Tianhua's halberd ranking. The strongest divine weapon of the three kingdoms. Helping Lu Bu become the top general of the three kingdoms, he has made remarkable military achievements multiple times, using one enemy to turn danger into safety. On the battlefield, countless killings were carried out, and even the gates and halberds were used to quell a war. Therefore, Fang Tianhua's halberd foot is on the top list of divine weapon evaluation. The Fang Tianhua halberd combines the functions of both light and heavy weapons, and has extremely high requirements for users. In terms of killing power and status, there are very few who can compare with it in the vast mainland. The top 10 divine weapons, Fang Tianhua's halberd should occupy a place. Reward for being on the list. 1. General Lv Bu, the divine weapon of the Western Liang Army. Fang Tianhua halberd will receive divine power casting and have the opportunity to conceive artifact spirits. 2. Reward General Lv Bu of the Western Liang Dynasty with the Chaos Halberd technique, which can be used in conjunction with Fang Tianhua's halberd to create a chaotic land and suppress enemies. With the announcement of rewards, the scene of the three kingdoms in the Western Liang region is once again presented on the sky. I saw, bang. Heavenly Tao rewards are issued. A divine light with supreme power descended directly onto the Fang Tianhua halberd in Lu Bu's hand. The brilliant divine light shines on the entire military camp. It's hard to keep your eyes open. When the light dissipates, buzz. Buzz. The Fang Tian painted halberd is emitting a faint divine light, and there is also a buzzing sound coming out. Among them, there is also a strong vitality. Lu Bu looked at the Fang Tianhua ji in his hand, with a hint of fanaticism in his eyes. My own weapon. Fang Tianhua halberd. Seems to be nurturing a life. That's a spirit that has not yet been nurtured. He can clearly feel it. Once the spirit of the vessel can be nurtured, the Fang Tian painting halberd will reach an unprecedented level of terror. Who? Lu Bu's breathing was rapid, and an astonishing expression erupted in his eyes. And at this moment, his tall body suddenly shook, and his bones were all clicking. A mysterious and terrifying aura suddenly erupted, soaring into the sky. Centered around him, the powerful aura made Dong Zhuo and everyone present feel heart-pounding. I saw Lu Bu holds the Fang Tianhua ji, his long hair dancing like a deity. His body trembled even more violently, because various moves of chaos halberd technique appeared in my mind. With a thought, buzz. The Fang Tian painted halberd emitted a buzzing sound, blooming with divine light. Next second, the surrounding world has lost its color and fallen into the chaos of isolation between heaven and earth. Lu Bu looked at the changes around him with a shocked expression in his eyes. Is this my heavenly reward? With this reward, isn't it possible for oneself to strive for the strongest position in the vast continent? In the midst of losing consciousness, Boer, what are you doing? A startled shout interrupted his thoughts. Upon hearing this, Lu Bu regained his senses and turned his gaze to the side. My adoptive father Dong Zhuo's face was pale, panting heavily in fear. I was stunned for a moment. He quickly put away his thoughts. Soon, chaos disappears, everything around you returns to normal. But the surrounding army had a frightened expression on their faces, and many people had already fallen to the ground. But fortunately, there is no risk of life. At this point, it's so scary. Dong Zhuo's face remained pale, with fear in his eyes. Everything I just experienced, it's really terrifying. Even if you know that Lu Bu didn't mean it, but he clearly felt a suppressed suffocation. If we continue, I'm afraid I'll die in that chaos. The adopted son Lv Bu received such a heavenly reward, his strength skyrocketed. Suppress the inner vibration. Dong Zhuo had a strong expression in his eyes and eagerly said with a red eye, what a gold medal list, what a heavenly reward. Boer, with your current strength, it's not a problem for us to unify the three kingdoms in Xiliang. Hello, prepare yourself and send troops tomorrow to attack Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Quan. We father and son. Unify the three kingdoms. On the first day, 7 chapters are presented. Kneeling down for everyone's data support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Emperor Wu of Han grits his teeth with anger, and Ying Zheng's domineering aura. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Emperor Wu of Han grits his teeth with anger, and Ying Zheng's domineering grasp. De Han, the civil and military officials of the Manchu dynasty have turned pale in fear from the screen. They really didn't expect that, the Fang Tianhua Ji of Lubu in the Three Kingdoms. Surprisingly, it makes people feel scalp tingling when watching the picture. The terror of Fang Tian's painted halberd, whether from the screen or from the moment they receive the heavenly way reward, I have deeply experienced it. Oh my goodness, this 9th heavenly reward is not as good as the 10th one. Terrifying, so terrifying. The forging of the heavenly painting halberd with divine power is terrifying enough, and there is also a chance to conceive a spirit. It's really unimaginable. The courtiers exclaimed in disgust, inhaling a series of breaths. And ahead, Emperor Wu of Han was shocked when he heard the discussion behind him, and his face was filled with anger. Below the 2 heavenly Tao rewards, he felt extremely unbalanced in his heart. Wanchao continent, the strength of the Han dynasty ranks among the top. But now, 2 divine weapons have been announced. None of them belong to big men. On the contrary, people from the Three Kingdoms have had the opportunity to be on the list. The more I think, the darker my face becomes. Emperor Wu of Han gritted his teeth and spoke in a deep voice, if my great Han was not in danger, how could there be this land of the Three Kingdoms? If this reward were given to the Han dynasty, it would be easy to shake Qin's hegemonic position. The rewards and the land of the Three Kingdoms should belong to me. I'm so angry, so angry. A calm face, he turned around and looked behind him. Wei Qing, Huatsubing. As soon as these words are spoken, Wei Qing and Huatsubing exchanged a glance and took 2 steps. I am here. Emperor Wu of Han suppressed his anger and spoke arrogantly, I command you to quickly prepare your troops and horses. Choose a day. Attack the Three Kingdoms. Upon hearing this, Baiguan was a bit surprised. Your Majesty. You're in a hurry. And it looks like this, it's true. Daqin, in Ying Zheng's eyes, there was only a scene from the sky. That Fangtian painted halberd had already demonstrated extremely terrifying power before. Nowadays, not only have we obtained divine power forging, but there is also a chance to cultivate artifact spirits. And as a result, Lu Bu obtained the Chaos Halberd method. Let Fang Tianhua's halberd work together to create a terrifying and oppressive chaotic realm that isolates heaven and earth. In his eyes, whether it's the Fangtian painting halberd or the heavenly way reward, everything is extremely terrifying, make him envious. Glancing at the list of divine weapons, Ying Zheng took a deep breath, his face full of dignity, and spoke arrogantly, Zhang Han, Wang Jian. I have few lives. You should set off immediately and head to the land of the Three Kingdoms. Find an opportunity, capture LV Bu alive, and bring back Fang Tianhua's halberd to me. If he resists and kills without mercy, it would be best if he could be used by the Great Qin. With a look of anticipation, his tone was somewhat urgent, and he trembled slightly as he said, anyway, Qin will definitely come first. Not only this divine weapon list, but also all the lists must be the top of the Qin dynasty. If someone else reaches the top of the list, they will either serve for Daqin or die. The last sentence, with an undisguised killing intent. Zhang Han and Wang Jian quickly walked out and bowed, saying, here. They looked at each other and quickly left. Next, Ying Zheng glanced at the scene again. I still haven't seen the arrival of the eldest son, Ying Changsheng. He frowned slightly and said, why hasn't Changsheng come over yet? Zhao Gao, go tell him to come over quickly. Fusu, Hu Hai, and other princes looked at each other when they heard Ying Zheng's words. The entire Qin dynasty, I'm afraid only the eldest brother can give father the emperor such a headache. Xianyang Palace Mansion. Ying Changsheng looked at the Fang Tianhua Ji forged with divine power in the picture, his face proud and calm. Is Fang Tianhua Ji? Maybe. I can't even withstand the force of a single finger, can I? Retract your gaze, he sighed uninteresting and said, this world is ultimately too weak for me. At this moment, young master, your majesty has asked me to call you over. Ying Changsheng withdrew his thoughts and glanced at Zhao Gao who appeared not far away. Upon hearing the other person's words, he said indifferently, I'm not interested. Upon hearing this, Zhao Gao feels bitter in his heart. The young master is usually even more aloof than his majesty. I have no interest in the world at all. But your majesty has asked himself to come and call the grand prince again. Hard scalp, he took a few steps forward and bowed again, saying, Your Highness, Your Majesty. Before he can finish speaking, I immediately felt a tremendous terrifying pressure enveloping me. Zhao Gao instinctively wanted to resist, but I couldn't even think of resisting in my heart. Looking up with difficulty, I only saw the young master staring coldly at me. In just an instant, Zhao Gao's face turned pale instantly, and he was about to spit out a mouthful of blood. Retract your gaze like being electrocuted, he was already sweating profusely from behind and quickly stepped back, saying, Please forgive me, young master. I'm leaving. Without any hesitation, Zhao Gao was scared out of his wits and disappeared in a flash. Seeing someone run away, not interesting. Ying Changsheng sat down again. Just now, Zhao Gao just stepped into the supreme realm, the lord of the trap was so scared by one look in his eyes that he couldn't bear it. He grabbed a handful of grapes next to him, picked one and put it in his mouth. While looking proud and aloof, it is also very leisurely. Chapter 8 Strive to become more popular, kneel down and beg for everyone's support in flower evaluation tickets. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Is the Great Qin Gai Nie only ranked 8th? Li Er smiled. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Is the Great Qin Gai Nie only ranked 8th? Li Er's mouth burst into laughter. At this moment, between heaven and earth, there is once again a roar. Abyssal regeneration. The golden radiance shines brightly, the golden list continues to be announced. Heavenly Way Gold List. Divine Weapon Ranking, 8th place announced. 8th place. Yuanzhang Sword. Dynasty. Great Qin. Holder. Gai Nie. Identity. Sword Saint. Achievements. One of the disciples of Gigu Zonghan, the Great Qin Sword Saint. On the battlefield of the Six Kingdoms, he relied solely on the Yuanzhang sword to kill countless enemy soldiers, making a huge contribution to the unification of the Great Qin in the battle of conquering the Xiongnu. He defeated countless Xiongnu armies with the power of a single sword, killing them multiple times and causing them to flee and defeat. The golden words appear, as if engraved on the gold list. Meanwhile, the scene on the sky slowly unfolds. I saw Gai Nie's face was cold, holding the abyssal rainbow sword and facing off against the Xiongnu army. Whoosh! With a movement of the body, he charged into the Xiongnu army with a sword. Soon, the Yuanzhang sword erupted into a towering sword aura on the battlefield, charging straight into the 9 sky clouds. Bang! The color of heaven and earth changes, and the void roars. With an unparalleled momentum, as if to pierce through the sky. There is a sound of imminent collapse. Waves of twisted ripples appear, the void seems unable to withstand the terrifying sword energy of the abyssal rainbow sword. As the sword fell, the sword unleashes a destructive force, as if to tear apart nothingness. And under this terrifying sword aura, before the Xiongnu army could react, they were mostly killed with one sword. One scene after another appears, Yuanzhang demonstrates ultimate killing power and terrifying power. Buzz. A sword roar sounded, accompanied by a brilliant burst of light. The breathtaking sword energy spans thousands of miles, soaring straight into the clouds. With this sword, we will all perish. Bang. This sword, let nothingness tremble and tear a crack in the sky. Just making people watch, you can feel a terrifying sword aura enveloping you. Even if it's just a picture, that feeling is extremely clear. Above the rainbow, apart from the towering sword energy, a terrifying pressure spreads from the screen. The people seen in the vast continent, everyone has widened their eyes, and those with insufficient cultivation are directly injured. Damning, this. Zhu Yuanzhang's expression was stunning, full of disbelief as he looked at the picture. Under the terrifying sword aura, he felt a sharp gleam rushing towards him. Yuanzhang's sword, how terrifying. But what shocked him was not just this. Suppressing the shock within, Zhu Yuanzhang's expression was moved, and he gasped in surprise, what's going on here? The first swordsman of the Great Qin, the sword Saint Gai Nie's Yuanzhang sword, only ranks 8th on the divine weapon list. It's truly a gold list, the conditions for being on it are so high. What kind of unparalleled divine weapon is the divine weapon behind? Even the Yuanzhang sword is only 8th. Take a deep breath, a worried expression appeared on his face. Can our daming make it onto the list? In the Ming court, there seems to be no divine weapon that can make it to the list. If you can't make it to the list, how can you compete with many dynasties that have received rewards from the heavenly way in this vast continent? The ministers also felt uneasy when they saw Zhu Yuanzhang's worried expression. After all, receiving the heavenly way reward, it will play a crucial role in the development of a dynasty. For example, in the Tang dynasty and the Western Liang of the Three Kingdoms. After receiving the heavenly reward, it can completely crush forces of the same level. Even replace it. Li Shanchang took a deep breath and comforted, Your Majesty. There are people from all 3 countries who can make it to the list, just like there are people from all over the Ming dynasty. Perhaps the ranking is still high. So Your Majesty, we just need to wait for the list to be announced, there's no need to worry. Upon hearing this, Zhu Yuanzhang nodded and said, Yes, yes. The world is so vast that we don't believe that no one can make it to the divine weapon list. We need to watch the people of the Ming dynasty make it to the list. Tang dynasty, above the palace. The civil and military officials were somewhat stunned. Is Yuanzhang, the Great Qin sword Saint Gai Nie, ranked 8th? The terrifying power of the Yuanzhang sword and the sword Saint Gai Nie is almost unknown to everyone on this vast continent. How could this ranking be? They looked at each other and started discussing. Above, it's comfortable now. Li Shimin laughed heartily when he heard the comments of the ministers. He is in a great mood now. Completely no longer the frustration and anger of the previous third brother's weapon ranking in the 10th place. Emperor Ying Zheng's Great Qin, surprisingly, it only ranks 8th. For him, nature is a joyful thing. I can't say for sure when Tang was ranked at the bottom before, Emperor still disdains it. He had already filled his mind with images. Put aside your thoughts. Li Shimin's face was filled with pride, and he sneered, Ying Zheng, isn't your Great Qin invincible? Ha ha ha. But your Daqin is only 8th. If I hadn't been unable to see it, I would really want to see what you look like now. You're probably already furious now, aren't you? With a snort, he spoke arrogantly and said, 8th, even the Great Qin is just like that. I'm sorry. Ying Zheng, just keep your eyes wide open and watch carefully. My Tang dynasty will definitely continue to make it on the list. I'm so angry with you. Chapter 9. The author is working hard to become more popular, kneeling down to ask everyone for flower evaluation votes to support. The new book relies on this data support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Ying Zheng's Disobedience. How could I, the Great Qin, only? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Ying Zheng is not satisfied. How could the widowed Great Qin only rank 8th? Daqin, how could this be? Mr. Gai Nie's Yuanzhang sword. The civil and military officials, along with the princes, watched the scene and swallowed their saliva, making it difficult to accept. They didn't expect that, the first swordsman of the Great Qin, the sword Saint Gai Nie's Yuanzhang sword, only ranks 8th. At this point, Ying Zheng's face turned black, and a look of anger appeared on his majestic face. He stared closely at the list of divine weapons. Daqin made its debut on the list, surprisingly, such a ranking. For him, I really can't accept it at all. Even if I believe in my heart that Tianwen sword is the first, but the Yuanzhang sword, how can we get into the top 5? With anger in his mouth, Ying Zheng suppressed it and said, in the Tang Dynasty, both Li Yuanba and Lv Bu from the western Liang of the Three Kingdoms could rank 10th and 9th in their weapons. How could the Yuanzhang sword of the Great Qin sword saint be only ranked 8th? Looking at a young man with a slight frown in the crowd, he raised his tone and asked, Gai Nie, I ask you. Can you convince me of this gold ranking? Upon hearing this, Gai Nie frowned and shook his head. The Yuanzhang sword surprisingly ranks 3rd to last. The previously announced drum-beating one golden hammer and Fang Tianhua halberd, which weapon can compare to one's own Yuanzhang? He is naturally dissatisfied. Upon seeing this, Ying Zheng snorted coldly, I am not convinced either. This time on the Heavenly Way Golden List, Daqin, with few people on each list, must occupy the top spot and become the dynasty with the most on the list. Squeeze your eyes, he looked at the gold list again and said coldly, I want to see. Who is really suppressing me, Qin? Meanwhile, above the golden list, there is a dazzling light. The majestic scroll once again features golden fonts. Reason for Yuanzhang sword's inclusion on the list. Descendant of Gigu, strongest swordsman of the Great Qin Dynasty, sword Saint Gai Nie with sword. He once helped Gai Nie become famous in the Battle of the Six Kingdoms and played a huge role in the unification of the Six Kingdoms by the Great Qin Dynasty in the battle against the Xiongnu. He eliminated multiple Xiongnu legions and tribes, and was even hailed by the Xiongnu as the sword of the Xiongnu's nightmare and let Gai Nie play a better role in protecting the Lord of the Great Qin, the first Emperor Ying Zheng. Divine Weapon Evaluation. The Yuanzhang is based on the residual rainbow and was forged by the best swordsmith of the Qin state, who combined hardware and recast it. Its power and various aspects far surpass the residual rainbow. A terrifying and unparalleled weapon in the vast continent of dynasties. The divine weapon list only includes the top 10 most powerful weapons of the Wanqiao continent, and the Yuanzhang sword has been included in the list. The name of the divine weapon truly deserves it, reward. Sword Saint Gain Peijian Yuanzhang will be sublimated under divine power washing, which can stimulate divine fire to increase the power of divine weapons. Sword Saint Gai Nie will obtain a wisp of sword soul, which can be integrated into the abyss rainbow or refined on his own, greatly enhancing the power of the abyss rainbow or his own strength. As rewards are announced, the scene on the sky was directly given to Gain. Bang! A huge roar came from the void. I saw a brilliant divine light will fall on the abyssal rainbow in Gai Nie's hand. Buzzing. The sound of swords spreads, and powerful waves spread in all directions. When the divine light dissipates, above the Yuanzhang, there is a terrifying wave of sword energy, and above the sword god, there is a faint golden flame. It looks like at the edge of the sword, I feel a piercing pain at first glance. Sharpness, it has reached an extremely terrifying level. And at this moment, a shimmering golden ball of light slowly appeared in front of Gai Nie. In addition to the powerful soul power fluctuations, among them, there is a terrifying sword aura emanating. Seems to contain supreme killing intent. That sword soul rewarded by the heavenly way. A sword soul that is not complete, but extremely terrifying. Gai Nie's eyes showed a strong expression and he held it in his hand. Afterwards, he sent his sword soul onto the abyssal rainbow in his hand. With the fusion of that strand of sword soul, buzz. Buzz. Yuanzhang let out a sword roar, trembling violently. Swordsmanship raging, towering. In an instant, heaven and earth lose their color, the strong wind blows. Under the combination of the two, a strong oppression that gives people a terrifying and heart-shaking sensation. If Gai Nie were to wield a sword at this moment on this vast continent, I'm afraid not many people can take this sword. The land of Western Chu, Xiang Yu's face was full of envy, with a strong jealousy in it. Sword Saint Gai Nie received a heavenly reward, whether it is one's own strength or the Yuanzhang in hand, they have all received unprecedented terrifying upgrades. At this moment, the abyssal rainbow sword, just making him look at it already makes his heart skip a beat. If facing head on, I'm afraid I can't bear even one move. With jealousy and unwillingness, Xiang Yu's veins bulged on his forehead and he shouted fiercely, "Damn it! How good would it be if this reward were given to me? I must have led troops to rebel against Qin. Now that the Great Qin has Gai Nie, who has received rewards from the heavenly way, isn't my anti-Qin plan going to be postponed again? If we can't make it to the list, isn't anti-Qin hopeless? You're so angry. Clench your fist." He widened his eyes and gritted his teeth, saying, "No way. I must make it to the list of Western Chu, I must. At that time, I will rise up and attack Daqin, annihilating it in one fell swoop." As soon as these words are spoken, the army of Western Chu looked expectant. As the overlord said, they must be on the list of the Western Chu and receive rewards from the heavenly way. Only in this way, only then can we overthrow the Great Qin. Chapter 10 On the first day. Gritting your teeth to update, kneel down and ask everyone to support the flower evaluation ticket. Please, everyone. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.